Hello and welcome back to a weekly outlook. Today is Monday the 2nd of March, so we have a new month of trading to unwind and get ourselves into. Typically I do usually do outlooks on a Sunday, but as you are probably aware, we had some global news over the weekend with the bombings of, or the war, shall we say, have started to be over in the Middle East of Iran and surrounding areas with the USA. Don't want to dive into that too much, I'm not really a political man, but we understand that when such things happen in the world, that the economical side of things do tend to get hit, i.e. the stock market, or let's just say the financial markets. So we were expecting some heavy volatility coming into Monday, so rather than doing a pre-planned outlook on Sunday, I wanted to let Monday play out and then address the situation, or address the elephant in the room. So let's get straight into it. What do we usually do? We start on the economic calendar for red folder news, and as you can see, we had PMI for the dollar today. Tomorrow we've got the annual budget release for the pound. Wednesday we've got ADP NFP, which isn't the big one, and then we've got PMI. Thursday we've got unemployment claims, usual. Friday we have the NFP, which is the big one. So Friday is going to be the biggest volatile day as the folders go, but like I say, we understand that the world news events that are going on currently is a biggie. So just a quick glance over on the monthly. The monthly is looking, obviously we understand that we have been ranging of some sort since taking the year of 22, I think it was, yearly lows here a couple of months ago. And we've kind of traded a little bit higher ever since. Now, as you can see, February was not a great month all round, and that monthly candle kind of represents exactly what it is. You know, we haven't had expansion, we haven't had any clear direction, it's kind of here or there. So coming on to the weekly, we understand that obviously we can still not overrule that we are in this weekly fair value gap of this bearish intent. But with that being said, I believe for whether it's this next week or the next couple of weeks, I do think DXY is actually going to trade through this weekly. Do we trade into this order block, this weekly order block, or trade above for the highs in the market? So as you can see, Monday, the weekly candle currently looks like this. Coming on to the daily, key things I want to point out on the daily time frame is a couple of weeks ago we actually were trying to trade shorts and we got caught up in the chop that happened this week, which was NFP candle here, and then last week we got caught up in this chop after thinking we were going to get a sweep and trade it lower here. All is well, it was the same thing we always do, but with that being said, just keep this marked out a second. When you look at it in hindsight, and we're not hindsight traders, but you have to look at the market and analyze what you see. And as you can see internally on the daily time frame, price is respecting bullish order flow. We have a low that led to a high, we have a higher high, we have a higher low, we have a higher high. Yes, it wasn't a clean body break above, but we do have a higher high, have a higher low, and now we have what seems to be creating a higher high. Now, as you can see, we had respect to the daily FVG here, pushed up. We have a daily FVG here, which was again respected, and it was actually Monday's candle of last week that created low of the week, which was this candle here. Traded, closed above the daily, didn't give super strong confirmation, but something to go by, and then we obviously chopped a little bit down, and then today we've opened up. We did gap up, as you can see, had a gap up here. It did get filled as such, because the gap should be from there to there. It did get filled, as you can see, tap into that today, and then obviously have just traded quite bullishly above. Now, what can we also see on the 4 hour that doesn't tell a picture on the daily? I think there's no rush immediately to get into trades this week. I think obviously coming off of a couple of bad weeks, I want to rebuild confidence, and what I mean by that is I want to exercise patience and not just immediately jump into something straight off the bat. I do want to do my due diligence, I do want to analyze, and I do want to stay patient in the approach, because I still believe that there is a little bit of choppiness about the market until we get a clear sudden urge of movement in one direction. I feel like there is that possibility of just trading back into the range and doing a bit of chop city. So this week alone, obviously NFP Friday usually does help. I know a couple of weeks ago it didn't help, but NFP is the biggest news driver, so typically does help clear up on the markets. So what would I be looking for coming into this week? Well, I do now believe that, like I say, DXY is going to be bullish. It's just up until where. I'm not ruling out the fact that it could be bearish as well. That is the key thing here. We are still in the weekly FEG. I do understand that. Could this be high of the week here? You know, I'm not going to keep this marked out, but just for an example, could this be high of the week? Yes, it could be. And that's why I don't want to just suddenly take a DXY long here. But I've got to understand as well that this could well be low of the week already. And both of these might not be high or low of the week. They could just be within the range that's going to happen. But I do believe, and I am probably in favor of longing DXY opposed to shorting until super confirmation is given. And you know, the daily time frame, okay, we've taken this daily draw here and we are reacting, which we know from a draw and a pool of liquidity side of things that typically when draws get taken, the market reacts. That's just how it is. On the 4 hour, what would be nice is, and it seems very, very simple, price to come into one of these FEGs, or even down here. I wouldn't be opposed to price coming down here, but I wouldn't long straight off of this bat here. I would need to see strong confirmation. Maybe it makes a low of the week in here, trades higher, and then I can start to catch some form of second leg. Alternatively, just coming down into said area, showing signs of respecting, and then obviously trading up towards the weekly order block, which would be the next, for me, the next logical target. Yes, I understand there's a 4 hour pivot here, which would probably indicate a daily high, which it does. You've also got that daily FVG there. So, you know, even marking out this here, you've got daily FVG. If I keep that marked as an area which I know price, if it's bullish, will be gravitated towards. So yeah, I think what I do from this scenario is I just want to set an alert on DXY. If price comes down to here, great, I'll be looking. not going to long, like I say, I'm not going to long straight off the bat, which would look something like this with stops at low of the week potentially, like that. That's not necessarily what I'd be looking for. I would rather be looking for something like this and catching the second leg movement with stops at a little bit lower. It would be something like that. So that's what I would be in favour for, but like I said, I'm not ruling out price just coming from this area now after taking some sort of buy side liquidity, coming down, disrespecting the FVG, continuation, and then just targeting lower price. So, you know, I'm not ruling that scenario out, but there's a fine line between being liquid and being indecisive. So yes, I'm liquid in buying or selling DXY, but you've got to have an in favor of, and this is where the technical aspect comes into it, in daily structure, we can't rule out that price is made higher highs and higher lows internally going up towards buy side liquidity. Okay, but then from a higher time frame point of view, we can't disrespect that price is now almost, well, it technically has filled all of the weekly imbalance. Could this now be enough buy side liquidity to continue the move to the downside? Again, we can't rule that out, and this is where I'll be definitely looking to exercise that patience I've been talking about and really regroup, pull myself back together. Like I say, bad couple of weeks, confidence probably a little bit on the lower side, which is totally normal, but it's how we pull through and come to the other side of these things is what makes us as traders. I feel like we can't dwell on the bad just as much as we can't thrive on the good. I believe we take each week as it comes, and the main importance is just staying consistent to the model that you trade, whether that be on any time frame, on any strategy. As long as you're doing the same thing week in, week out, results will come. When we start veering off into bad paths, that's when it all goes wrong and accounts get blown and drawdown becomes, and psychology goes out the window, etc, etc. So yes, from a weekly outlook point of view, that I think is a wrap. I've told you what I would like to be looking at and what I'm in favour of. I've also explained what areas of interest I will be looking at to potentially take a trade. I do feel like on a Euro point of view, just coming into this, you know, something like that would be picture perfect. It didn't actually take the draw, just on the Euro perspective. I think if I'm just going to get rid of some of these, clean up the charts a little bit, you know, and we would ultimately be aiming for something like that if the DXY bias is correct, or you know, lines up to be able to be taken. So let's see what DXY does over the next couple of hours throughout Asia and coming into tomorrow, and I think we'll just evaluate from there. So like I say, that's it from the weekly outlook. As always, we'll be uploading throughout the week if anything happens in a sense of me getting into a trade or certain things, plans change, but we will go from there.